Well, thank you to everyone for welcoming us again here. These are strange times, and we definitely missed you all last year. But I want to make sure that you know, even though we couldn't come, that how grateful we are for your financial support that's ongoing. And we will have a group here tomorrow. Whoever doesn't have class on Monday at 1 p.m., they'll come help unload those pumpkins and load them into wheelbarrows.
Thank you.
I will say that the past year and a half at University Christian Ministry has been strange. It is very weird to be running a Wesley Foundation, a campus ministry, when there are no students on campus. What is that? We essentially had to completely reinvent what campus ministry looks like, and it was largely on Zoom. And now, this fall, as students have come back to campus vaccinated and masked, we're transitioning yet again, trying to figure out what campus ministry looks like these days with the circumstances that we're living in and keeping everyone safe and healthy at the same time. But through all of that, our purpose has remained the same. We want all the students to know, especially in these challenging times, that through their baptism, through the baptism that we heard of our Lord today, we want students to know that they, just like Jesus, are each a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased. And that is the message that we want our students to receive at all times, but especially at this time. Now, as you heard Pastor Brian say, our God is relational, and campus ministry is by nature relational. So it's only by the power of that Trinitarian God that we managed to build relationships with new people on Zoom this year. And I brought someone with me this morning who we met on Zoom last year. And we became very good friends. This is Jordan. Jordan Muhammad is a sophomore, and they are a theater major and American Studies major. And we are just so lucky that we had students like Jordan who were willing to take a risk and invest in building community on Zoom and just learn what it means to be people of God together during this time. So I'm just going to let Jordan share a little bit from their point of view of what this campus ministry has meant to them in the last year and a half.
Thank you, Julie, for that introduction, and thank you all for having me here in your beautiful church today. I'm so thankful to be in a physical church. Haven't been in one in a while, so it's been a lovely experience so far. By the grace of God, I happened across UCM. I am one of the fortunate students who have started college in a pandemic, and I was at a virtual activities fair in the fall, scrolling through all the activities, and I saw University Christian Ministry and decided to pop in the Zoom that they were having. Now, before I dive into my UCM experience, I'm going to take a step back. Growing up, my family went to church almost every Sunday, and we've never really been married to a specific denomination. When I lived in Indiana, I went to an AME church and occasionally a Methodist church, and when I moved to New Jersey, we found a home at Fountain Baptist, a predominantly Black church, and I've kind of just considered myself Protestant. But interestingly enough, I don't think I became fully invested in my relationship with Christ until the pandemic began. Watching the live stream of my church from my living room, being able to occasionally do my laundry or crochet while I'm watching the sermon actually allowed me to tune in a lot more and gave me so much spiritual life. So when starting college, I was really excited to be able to work on my relationship with God and wanted to be able to work on that while I was at school. UCM was the first church that welcomed me in, so I showed up on that lovely introductory Zoom call, and it ended up being the perfect home for me. Getting so many opportunities to know the people in that intimate space that we're worshiping with our life updates, and getting to hear people's responses to a question at every meeting. The events like pumpkin carving, which I did win last year. It was a little bit of a competition. It was fun. the Christmas letters that we sent each other when we were at home, Julie's amazing sermons where she not only talks about a Bible verse, but gives us the historical context, gives us different readings of the verse, and never tells us how to believe, just is sharing knowledge with us. The ability to be in conversation with fellow students about verse, and also Julie's invitation to, in person, take walks, but on Zoom, just set up a Zoom call, which we ended up doing weekly and occasionally bi-weekly, where Julie ended up becoming a kind of mentor for me and most definitely a friend. Gave me so much insight on my life that I don't think I would be the person I am today without that experience of Julie being, I think, probably my closest friend at the beginning of my college experience, at least from the university. And now, I am so excited to continue these next 3 years at this community. I'm excited for this new chapter, and I'm especially excited for us to start eating dinner when that's possible at our 5 p.m. house services. Thank you.